I tried several psychedelics, but after some research, I was looking for an ayahuasca analog that would not require MAOIs and would not cause body load. I finally found MET, which is almost an orally active version of NN-DMT, so it does not require MAOI and does not cause nauseating melting feelings like what people get on psilocybin or psychedelic mushrooms. After finally getting the light yellowish powder of methyltryptamine, I tried to smoke 8 grams of it, but it tasted horribly and just felt confusion, anxiety and fear for about 10 minutes, and then had an odd feeling of having my mind distorted sideways that vanished after a couple of days. So, a few weeks later I tried again but put about 50 milligrams on my tongue. It had a very sour taste, like biting a medicine pill, but it was not as bad as the taste of ayahuasca. 40 minutes later I started feeling my mind being disassembled with the added feeling of some anxiety, not knowing what would happen next. A few more minutes later I started feeling strongly missing the pets that I used to have, and my friends that live far away, feeling bad for not having appreciated them more while I was with them. This is actually a very clear cluster of feelings that I experience every time I take a psychedelic of the tryptamine family. The desire to love others kept on increasing every minute. After a while, I tried to close my eyes and I saw a beautiful white bird flying towards a bright white sun emitting a light which was blowing a wind of light towards the bird. That wind of light would create beautifully shiny crispy colors while the light hit the bird's wings. I asked myself what was the meaning of it, and that sun in the horizon told me telepathically without voice. You are that bird, trying to reach the sun which represents God, or infinity, but because you took just a little substance, you cannot get much closer. The shiny colors that you see forming on the edge of the wings of the bird, are the gems of wisdom that you are learning from infinity, despite being still far from infinity. You are always within infinity, but you are experiencing the illusion of being far from it. I also noticed that while under the effect of MET I could think in different directions that it was not possible before in a normal state, and I could think differently and better alternative solutions to many problems. It was possible to think in alternative and uncommon ways with 5-MeO-DMT as well, but because MET lasts at least 4 hours, I had more time to do experiments with my own mind. This feeling of love and deeper understanding of everything faded away after about 5 hours, getting back to my normal default mindset, but having experienced something truly perfect, great and useful to remember all my life. A few months later I tried MET once again, but this time it was about 80 milligrams. After about 40 minutes I started feeling a growing anxiety, and as usual it was similar to what is felt with psychedelic mushrooms and ayahuasca. For an inexperienced person, this anxiety would have felt hellish, but I could manage it because I remember feeling the same way several times with other tryptamines. After another half hour, the anxiety feeling faded away, leaving room for a feeling of nostalgia, like something I loved was lost or missing from my life. And while focusing on this feeling of nostalgia, trying to understand what was I missing, I felt like a sun on the horizon started going up and illuminating my mind. This sun then told me that what I was feeling that was missing was not loving others, including animals, because that is what I always was and what I always wanted, because we are our own deepest desires, which is the desire to love. This brilliant white sun rising up into the horizon told me that I could not see the sun more up in the sky because I didn't take much methyltryptamine, but it was still enough to have a great experience to increase my wisdom. This light told me that despite the fact that I didn't love others as much as I really wanted, and this mistake is not just mine but also global in society, the light of love is always shining and will never stop shining, and no matter how many mistakes we make, the light will always be there to shine for us as a guide, comfort and waiting forever until we learn from our mistakes, not loving being the only true mistake. We just need to wake up from our old ways, and awaken to an unlimited understanding that we are love, we want love, and the ultimate solution to absolutely every problem is reality, infinity, consciousness, love, which is all the same with different words. This bright white light told me that the fact that we are used to make a mistake, does not mean that it has to become who we are in our way of life, but we can learn from the mistakes, turning around and use the mistakes as a platform of experience where we say, I will not make that mistake again because I have been there and I don't want to do that mistake again. Methyltryptamine is astonishingly similar to ayahuasca, very easy to dose, but at least in me, did not cause any pain, body load, nausea, chest pressure or puking. Methyltryptamine helped me see a bit of how life after death is, what I should improve as an individual human being, and that my biggest mission in life is to awaken to infinity and help others do the same, by watching and learning from that same unique light. I would strongly suggest methyltryptamine over ayahuasca to avoid unnecessary body load and the risk of intoxication caused by MAOI. I have to say that ayahuasca has its own unique charm. But in the end, what is behind psychedelics is what is really important, because psychedelics are just a key that open a door to our ultimate goal, while psychedelics are just means to remember that goal.